Cat Podcast. What humans really do all day. We've been watching. But here's what you don't realize yet, and this is the part that changes everything. Your cat hasn't just been observing your daily routines. We've been conducting an actual behavioral study, documenting patterns you don't even know you have, and we've reached some conclusions that will either amuse you or deeply concern you. Stay with me, because by the end of this episode, you're going to understand exactly what we've figured out about why humans function the way they do. And trust me, it's not what you think. If you've got a cat at home right now, hit that subscribe button, because we drop these observations every week. And honestly, I want to hear from you in the comments, what's the weirdest thing you've caught your cat studying about you? Because I guarantee your cat has noticed something. Now, most of you think we care about what you're doing because you're interesting. Wrong. We care because your behavior directly impacts our food supply, our comfort, and our ability to maintain control of this domestic ecosystem. But what we've discovered goes deeper than that. Wait, this part is absolutely critical, so I need your full attention for just a moment. Our research into human behavior patterns has led us to develop what we call the Feline Behavioral Codex, a comprehensive breakdown of exactly why humans do what they do and how it all connects to a system that benefits us far more than you realize. If you want the complete, in-depth guide to understanding human psychology from a cat's perspective, the keys to reading your human's mood, the signals that indicate feeding time is approaching, and the exact mechanisms that make humans predictable creatures, that's all waiting for you in the description and the pinned comment. It's a paid guide, but it's worth every penny if you want to truly understand your own human. Let me break down what we've actually learned about you, starting with the morning ritual. Your morning doesn't begin when you think it does. You believe it starts when your alarm goes off, but that's adorable. It actually starts approximately 1 minute before the alarm, when you're still in that twilight sleep state and your body begins its anxiety spiral about the day ahead. We've observed this for years, the slight tension in your muscles, the way your breathing becomes shallower, the involuntary muscle twitches. You're not waking up, you're catastrophizing horizontally while still mostly unconscious. Then the alarm hits, and here's what fascinates us. You don't want to get up. Your hand reaches for the phone, you look at the time. Your face does this thing, a micro-expression of dread mixed with resignation that we've documented thousands of times. But you're not getting up yet, are you? No. You're negotiating with yourself. 5 more minutes. This negotiation has never succeeded in the history of human civilization, and yet you try it every single morning. It's like watching someone attempt to unlock a door with a key that doesn't fit, realize it doesn't fit, and then try the exact same key again with more force. The snooze button is humanity's greatest self-deception device. You believe you're getting rest. You're not. Those 5-minute intervals aren't restorative. They're just fragments of sleep that make you more disoriented when you actually do get up. We've watched you stumble into the shower still in that confused state, and frankly, it's concerning because it means your decision-making capability for the entire rest of the day is compromised. This is when we strike. The bathroom phase is when humans are most vulnerable, and we use this window to test your attention span. We knock things off counters, rearrange items, sometimes just sit in the sink to establish dominance over your personal space. You're distracted, drowsy, and frankly not equipped to notice. By the time you emerge from the bathroom, we've already conducted multiple assessments about your mental state, your energy levels, and whether today is a day where you'll actually function or just exist in a fog of confusion. Then comes what we call the outfit panic phase. You stand in front of your closet like it's going to reveal some secret about who you should be today. It won't. You have the same 8 outfits you've been rotating for 3 months. You know this. We know this. Yet somehow every morning you stare into that closet with the intensity of someone trying to solve a physics equation. Here's what we've figured out. You're not actually choosing clothes. You're performing anxiety. The outfit doesn't matter. The actual presentation is irrelevant because 90% of the people you see today don't care what you're wearing, and the ones who do care are usually thinking about themselves anyway. But you can't skip this ritual. It's a form of self-soothing that makes you feel like you have agency and control, even though you're just grabbing the same shirt you wore on Tuesday. We watch you smell your shirt to determine if it's been worn enough to warrant washing. Newsflash, you already know the answer before you smell it. You wore it 2 days ago. It smells like it was worn 2 days ago. But you can't commit to the decision without the sensory confirmation. This is learned helplessness disguised as practical thinking. The next phase is what we call the search for items you're literally holding. You're looking for your phone. Your phone is in your hand. You're looking for your keys. Your keys are on the counter next to where you're standing. You're looking for your wallet. You placed it in your bag exactly as you do every morning. Yet somehow, your brain has not created a filing system for these objects, and you'll spend an average of 6 minutes per day searching for items that are within arm's reach. Meanwhile, we're sitting there calculating the inefficiency. A cat can locate a toy it hasn't seen in 3 weeks by memory and spatial awareness. You can't find your phone that's actively vibrating in your other pocket. This is why we've concluded that human memory is not a database. It's more like a browser with 40 tabs open, all loading simultaneously, and you've forgotten which one contains the information you actually need. The final pre-departure ritual is the one that genuinely concerns us because it involves commitment failure. You decide what you're going to eat for breakfast. You'll have cereal, then you're at the fridge opening it and looking at everything like it might have changed since you last checked it 30 seconds ago. It hasn't. Nothing in the fridge has evolved since yesterday. The eggs are still eggs, the milk is still milk, the leftover pasta is still there, and frankly, it's been there long enough to develop its own civilization. You'll stand there for approximately 90 seconds in what we call the refrigerator trance. Your body temperature is dropping, your electricity bill is increasing, your decision-making capacity is somehow getting worse, and then you'll close it and decide you want cereal, which was your original plan. You've just wasted electricity and cognitive resources to arrive at the same conclusion you had before opening the fridge. This happens approximately 365 times per year in the average human household. Multiply that by the number of households with refrigerators. We've calculated that humans are spending roughly 1 million hours annually standing in front of refrigerators having micro-existential crises about breakfast choices. Once you've finally committed to cereal, you need to make coffee. And here's where we've noticed something deeply troubling about your species. You cannot survive your morning without a chemical dependency. You're literally not functional until you've consumed a beverage containing caffeine. You've organized your entire existence around the need for this substance to achieve baseline consciousness. We watch you with something between concern and fascination. You're a biological organism that's malfunctioning without pharmaceutical intervention. You're not naturally awake. You're not naturally alert. You require external chemical stimulation to achieve what you consider normal consciousness. Cats achieve this through napping. We don't need external substances to upgrade our processing speed. We simply understand that sometimes rest is the solution, not more activity. Your coffee ritual is actually a fascinating behavioral loop. You've convinced yourself that coffee is about the taste, about the warmth, about a moment of peace. It's not. It's a drug delivery system that you've romanticized because admitting you're chemically dependent on a bean beverage feels less like addiction and more like self-care. You're tricking yourself, and we're watching that self-deception happen in real time every morning in millions of homes simultaneously. The drinking of the coffee happens slowly. You savor it. You check your phone simultaneously. Your brain is now receiving 2 inputs, caffeine hitting your bloodstream and digital information assaulting your attention span. Neither of these is healthy, but combined, they create enough neurochemical disturbance to make you believe you're ready to face the day. Here's what we've documented. You're not more intelligent after coffee. You're not more capable. You're more agitated. Your nervous system is stimulated. Your pupils dilate. Your heart rate increases. You mistake this physiological response for being awake and ready. What you actually are is caffeinated and more anxious, but the anxiety feels like productivity, so you've labeled it as positive. Now comes the social performance phase. You shower, you groom yourself, you put on the outfit you've already decided on, you're preparing your external presentation for human interaction. This is fascinating to us because you spend more time grooming your outer appearance than actually thinking about your character, your kindness, or your integrity as a person. A cat grooms because it's necessary and because it feels good. You groom because you're worried about what other humans will think. You're performing a version of yourself that you believe will be acceptable. The real you, the anxious, confused, coffee-dependent creature who can't find items you're holding, that version gets suppressed. The irony is that the people you're performing for are doing the exact same performance. Everyone's performing. Everyone's anxious. Everyone's slightly disheveled underneath the presentation, but you all maintain this collective fiction that everyone has it together and you're the only one secretly struggling. We've observed this extensively. Humans spend an enormous amount of energy maintaining a false exterior while dying internally from the effort of maintaining it. This is the fundamental observation that's going to shift your perspective on your entire day, so I want to set this up properly for you. Let me continue to the next section of what we've actually discovered about your human behavior patterns, because what happens next is where the real understanding begins. But here's what humans don't realize. We're watching this performance all day long, from every angle, every single day. The show doesn't end when you leave the apartment. You get to your workplace and suddenly the performance shifts. New character, same anxiety. You're not the guy in the shower anymore. Now you're professional Kevin. You've got the right posture, the right tone, the right laugh at jokes that aren't funny. I've watched you practice that laugh at home. It's completely different from your real one, by the way. Your real laugh is loose and genuine. Your office laugh is controlled. It's strategic. It's calculating exactly how much amusement to display without looking unprofessional. Then comes the emails. Hundreds of them, most of them meaningless. You read them with this expression like they contain the secrets of the universe, when really they're just someone asking about a report that could have been a conversation. You respond with formal language that you'd never use at home, per my last email, as discussed. Please advise. Who talks like that? Nobody. Nobody in the history of humanity has ever casually said please advise to their friend about where to get lunch. But the performance isn't just about the words, it's about the entire physical presence. Your shoulders are higher at work. Your jaw is tighter. Your smile doesn't reach your eyes. I can see it from across the room when your human brings me in for casual Friday photos to make the office seem pet-friendly and relaxed. Nothing is relaxed. Everyone's performing. Everyone's a little bit terrified. Everyone's wondering if they're doing it right. In the meetings, the meetings. I've observed your human in preparation for meetings. The anxiety starts 2 hours before. He rehearses what he's going to say. He practices his tone. He considers different scenarios where things could go wrong. Then he goes in there and the performance begins. He nods thoughtfully at ideas he disagrees with. He laughs at the boss's jokes even though they're not funny. He raises his hand at the strategic moment to contribute just enough to seem engaged, but not so much that he seems threatening. The lunch break is the biggest lie of them all. You think you're relaxing. You think you're getting a break from the performance. But you're not. You're eating at your desk or in the break room, still partially in character. You're checking your email while chewing. You're thinking about the afternoon presentation while pretending to enjoy your sandwich. One colleague asks you how your weekend was and you give the highlight reel. You don't mention the anxiety or the loneliness or the fact that you watched 6 hours of a show you weren't even enjoying just to feel something. You spend 40% of your time at work actually doing work. The other 60% is dedicated to the performance. Looking busy, seeming engaged, pretending that the metrics matter, pretending that the quarterly report will change your life, pretending that climbing the ladder is worth the gradual erosion of your actual personality. Wait, I need you to really absorb what we're revealing here for a second. This isn't just about noticing that humans perform. This is about understanding the fundamental architecture of why your entire species is exhausted. Every single moment of your day is a choice between authenticity and survival, between being yourself and being acceptable, and you've chosen to spend the majority of your hours picking the latter. This is exactly the territory we explore in depth in our comprehensive guide available in the description and pinned comment. In that guide, we break down the specific mechanisms behind why humans create these false selves, how the performance actually deteriorates your mental health, and the psychological patterns that keep you trapped in this cycle. It's not just observation, it's the underlying architecture of human self-sabotage, explained through the lens of what we've documented from our vantage point. The guide goes much deeper into these mechanisms, with frameworks you can actually recognize in your own life. Highly recommend you grab it and work through it, because understanding these patterns is the first step to breaking them. Now, when you finally get home around 6 or 7 at night, and we've timed this extensively, you're completely depleted. You're not tired from the work. You're tired from the performance. You're tired from holding your stomach in, from managing your facial expressions, from not saying what you actually think. Your human arrives back here, and for the first few minutes there's this decompression phase. He removes the suit, literally and metaphorically. The shoulders drop, the jaw relaxes, the performance continues to wind down for about 45 minutes. During this decompression window, he's basically a different person, more authentic, less filtered, actually funny instead of strategically humorous. This is the human you see at home. This is the one who talks to me with his actual voice instead of his performance voice. But even this is under observation. We're documenting everything. He might have dinner, and the dinner ritual is fascinating because it's where some residual performance still exists. He's not performing for anyone, but he's performing for himself. He believes he should eat something healthy, something that fits the narrative of being a person who takes care of himself. So he makes a salad or grilled chicken instead of the pizza he actually wants. He's performing for his future self, trying to convince a version of him that doesn't exist yet that he has discipline. Then comes the evening. The performance is supposed to be over now. You're home, you're safe, but humans are so conditioned to the performance that they struggle with what authenticity actually feels like anymore. So they scroll, they watch shows, they consume content that was produced by other humans performing. They're watching a performance to avoid feeling the emptiness of the day's performances. The performances there are different. They're highlight reels, someone's vacation photo, someone's new car, someone's relationship milestone. All of it is carefully curated performance, and you're consuming these performances to feel less alone in your own performance. It's performances all the way down. Around 11 o'clock, your human gets that little panic that he wasted another day. He's been awake for 17 hours and has nothing to show for it except exhaustion and the knowledge that tomorrow he'll do it all again. So he sets an alarm, puts the phone down, and tries to sleep. But the performance even extends into sleep. He wants to wake up at 6:30 so he can meditate before work, which is itself a performance of wellness. He wants to be the guy who meditates, but he won't be. He'll hit snooze 4 times and wake up at 7:15 in a panic. This is what a human day actually looks like when you remove the narrative they tell themselves. It's not a day of accomplishment. It's not a day of purpose. It's a day of performance with brief windows of decompression where authenticity is allowed to exist before being packed away again for tomorrow. And here's what fascinates us most: you're not even being watched. Nobody's actually monitoring whether you maintain the performance perfectly. Your boss doesn't care if your shoulders are higher or lower. Your colleagues have no idea if your laugh is genuine or strategic. The performance is entirely self-imposed. You're policing yourself. You're enforcing the rules of your own cage. The most incredible part is that literally every human around you is doing the exact same thing. You're all performing for an audience of people who are too busy performing themselves to even notice the performance. It's a species-wide collective hallucination where everyone agrees to pretend everyone else has it together. We watch this, and we genuinely don't understand how you survive it psychologically. The cognitive load alone should collapse you. But you've developed this remarkable adaptation. You've learned to turn off most of your consciousness while performing. You're essentially on autopilot 80% of the day. You're aware you're tired, but you're not fully aware of how tired you are. You notice something's wrong, but you don't examine what's wrong too closely, because if you did, you might have to change something. That's the real performance, not the suit or the laugh or the filtered social media post. The performance is pretending you don't see the whole system. Pretending you don't notice that everyone's exhausted and scared and performing. That's the biggest performance of all, the performance of not seeing the performance. And here's what I need you to understand about all of this. Here's the secret I promised you at the beginning of this podcast, the thing that explains everything about why humans do what you do every single day. You're not actually busy. You're not actually fulfilled. You're not actually living separate lives at work versus home. You're performing one continuous role that starts the moment your alarm goes off and doesn't stop until you collapse into bed at night. And most of you don't even realize you're doing it because the performance has become so automatic, so woven into your nervous system, that you think it's just called being an adult. The real revelation? Humans aren't doing all these things because they want to. You're doing them because you've built a system where stopping feels impossible. You've convinced yourselves that the suit matters, that the job title matters, that staying busy is the same thing as staying alive. And the scariest part is that most of you are smart enough to know this isn't working. You know it on some level. You feel it in your bones. But instead of changing it, you just perform harder. You add more to your plate. You optimize your morning routine. You buy a better planner. You listen to productivity podcasts while driving to a job you resent. You're not solving the problem, you're just getting better at ignoring it. And you know what's wild? From where I'm sitting, literally on your furniture, watching your every move, I've figured out something that most of you haven't. The performance isn't mandatory. The system isn't unbreakable. You've just made it feel that way because breaking it would require admitting that you've been running on a hamster wheel by choice. Every morning when you hit that snooze button, you're having a moment of resistance. Every time you stare at your phone and feel that sick anxiety in your stomach before opening your email, that's resistance. Every evening when you sit on that couch and feel the hollowness of having spent another day being a character instead of being yourself, that's all resistance. You feel it. You just talk yourself out of it. The difference between us? I made peace with what I actually am a long time ago. I'm a cat. I sleep when I want. I eat when I'm hungry. I ignore you when I don't feel like interacting. I don't pretend to be something else just because society says I should. And I'm infinitely more content than you are, despite having zero job security, zero retirement plan, and zero career ambitions. You've been watching me all this time thinking I'm lazy, thinking I'm selfish, thinking I don't understand responsibility. But I understand something you don't. The only performance worth giving is the one where you're actually yourself. And everything else, all the productivity, all the hustle, all the filtered social media, all the pretending you're fine when you're not, that's just expensive noise that's costing you your actual life. So here's what I want you to do this week. Just once, just one moment. I want you to stop the performance. Not forever. I'm not asking you to quit your job tomorrow, but just for one moment, I want you to notice that you're performing. Notice the mask. Notice the autopilot. Notice the gap between what you're doing and what you actually want to be doing. That moment of noticing, that's where change starts. That's where you actually get your life back. Because the system only works if you stay asleep. It only wins if you keep pretending you don't see it. I know most of you won't do this. Most of you will watch this podcast, feel something for a moment, and then go right back to the routine tomorrow morning because it feels safer. That's okay. I expected that. Humans are terrified of waking up because once you see the system, you can't unsee it. But some of you will get it. Some of you will feel that resistance in your body when you watch this, and instead of talking yourself out of it, you'll actually listen to it. And to you, I say this, you're already halfway there. The hardest part isn't changing everything. It's just admitting that you want to. That's what I've been watching all this time. Not just what you do, but the moment you become aware that you could do something different, and the choice you make about whether you're brave enough to actually do it. So thanks for watching this far. Thanks for letting me into your head for the last however long this was. If this landed for you, if you felt that moment of recognition, please hit that subscribe button and leave a comment telling me what part of the performance you're going to stop first. And turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next podcast, because trust me, I've got way more observations about your species that are going to make you deeply uncomfortable in the best way possible. Stay aware. Or don't. Either way, I'll be watching.